So you are potentially on camera for a couple of Twitch viewers until our show.
All right, I won't stand up.
Alright, Dan, I'm gonna hit record now.
Hail and well met, my fellow Hearthstone players, and welcome to HearthCoach, the podcast that can help you be legendary. I'm your host, Dan, and this is my co-host, Fred.
Hello, everybody.
He is a player of Legend Rank, and I have convinced him to coach me and record it in podcast form and put it out there so as to hopefully help some more of you make it to Legend also. All right, I have redeemed myself.
You have nailed it, Dan. It was a perfect intro.
That was nice. Yep.
The last couple were a little messy, but yeah, that one felt pretty good.
All right.
Oh, right. So here we are for episode 68 in a row. Another fine live video episode.
Right.
So, and we will introduce our guest, of course. There's always a guest for the video episodes, and we will introduce our awesome guest here in just a moment. Well, first, how you doing, Fred? How you been?
I've been doing okay, man.
2 days?
Yeah, the last weekend, this is not Hearthstone, but I painted my little girl's room, so that was an adventure. I had to move some furniture around, do some prep work, and do some painting. Her birthday is at the end of the month, and we got her bunk beds. So I was setting all that up, and they deliver them on Thursday. So then I had to put them together next weekend. So that's what I got to look forward to. But that's what I was doing last weekend. It was fun.
Oh, cool. Yes, I'm out of work for a little bit. I have, according to my physical therapist, a torn labrum in my shoulder. So I've taken a couple weeks off. I'm going to try and rehab it, so I don't have to get any surgery. Cool stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm been sitting around. I should be able to get in quite a few games of Hearthstone.
That's a good thing.
Well, I have been, and well, I guess this is just the time to make a confession. I'm a dirty face hunter, and that's all there is to say. I was talking about how I needed to find the deck that worked for me, and after some epic struggling with the Totem Shaman, just back and forth, can't get out of 13. I was like, okay. So I went and looked up the whatever the current face hunter was that I found at Hearthstone, and put it together, and proceeded to march on to almost got to 9 in like a day.
That's pretty good.
And then, as I told you earlier, it was kind of funny when you would, I don't know, I ran up against some Memorial competition, and then the cards just stopped coming for me, and then I guess I got a bit on tilt and went on a 10-game losing streak.
Same
and you
deck,
logged
right?
in right. I mean, the same deck, and you logged in and come in to watch me right at the tail, right when I lost the last game, and was like, okay, I'm done for the night. I was like, oh, there's Fred.
Right on time, right?
Oh, so I was like, well, good timing. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep.
So, but I mean, all in all, I'm still back up to 10. So I've made progress playing Face Hunter. And hey, I'm going to stick with it for a while.
All right.
I'm doing that. That's, pretty much been my week in Hearthstone.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the end of July and the Angry Chicken Convention.
Right.
CreateCon coming up.
Sweet.
I don't know if they have any tickets left or not. They did a week or so ago. They still had a few left. I will be doing that, and also Guns N' Roses that weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's
Okay.
my like pretty much my alternate plans. Yeah, in September, Slayer and Anthrax are coming.
Dude, you have it all planned out months in advance. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, my photographer buddy that I go to the shows with,
Yeah?
that's like one of his ultimate favorite groups. That's the first group he got a photo pass for when he was like 16, and got to where you get to be one of those guys in front of the barrier taking pictures of the band.
Okay.
And so that was the first band he ever got a photo pass for when he was a kid. And
Sweet.
so yeah, we're gonna try and pull that off in September. But anyway, yeah,
So, okay. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I'll be brief in talking about Hearthstone so we can introduce our guest. I
yes.
I completed the full golden set with the warrior, and then I said I'm gonna play that shaman we played because it's fun, and I did, and I made some modifications. Actually, they were from Muzzy from Team Hearthlytics. He put in the 7/7s because I think it's too broken to leave out. I played some. It hasn't been anything crazy because I've been busy with painting and all that. But I got to from 5 to 3, so I'm right there again. So in pretty good shape. And that was essentially it. I watched a lot of the European Championship over the weekend as well. But anyway, without further ado, because he's been so patient while we ramble on about our weeks, we want to introduce our guest for tonight, and his name is JASM. How are you, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. It's an interesting story how we found out about him, and uh,
Yes. Well,
uh,
you took what? You came in 8th at.
it was
Oh,
top 8 at DreamHack Austin,
that's it. Thank you,
which was
DreamHack. Could not remember DreamHack to save my life.
and one of your friends reached out to the show and said, "Hey, there's this guy that's like top 8 at DreamHack, and he's an awesome player, and I think you guys should have him." I'm like, "Oh, we would love to have somebody like that. That is a high level player. We discover, unknowns that are out there and give him an
That's right.
opportunity." So, welcome to HearthCoach.
Yeah, like you said, he reached out and he had messaged me in the Hearthstone client, and he was like, "Hey, you want to be on a podcast?" Because the fact that he reached out to you guys was unbeknownst to me. So it was a nice surprise on both of our ends, I guess. So.
Very
Well, I'm
good.
just glad you knew what a podcast was, because you'd be amazed that even though these things have been around for over a decade now, there are still so many people that don't even know what a podcast is.
Yeah, that it's a start, at least knowing what it is.
Yes, yes.
So, when we have guests on, we like to ask a few questions so that our listeners can get to know you. And normally we start around when did you discover Hearthstone? Like, when did you start playing? And whether or not you had either a card game background or this kind of game background. So,
Sure. So I've been into like board games and card games, just kind of like general tabletop stuff for a while now. I I'm in full time career now, and I think I got into board games when I was a freshman in high school. So it's been something like 10 years, and so always loved games and kind of figuring out strategies and different mechanics and stuff. But I never really got into competitive gaming until there was there's this dice game called Dice Masters, and it's kind of the Magic the Gathering version of like with dice, and you build a team of like Marvel superheroes and DC superheroes and
Interesting.
all this different stuff. Yeah, and so I actually went to like the World Championship for that in Ohio, and got top 16 there.
oh
And then
wow,
it was shortly out. Yeah, so that was fun. And then after that, I discovered Hearthstone. And since then, I kind of dropped off Dice Masters and basically just playing Hearthstone. That was about April of last year. So I've been playing for a little over a year.
Okay. All right. So you didn't.
It's pretty good. Been playing for just a little over a year and pulling out an 8th at DreamHack. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good rapid rise.
Yeah, would not want to know the amount of hours I've put into the game at this point. Let's put it that way. So,
I bet you haven't put as many as I have, and I haven't even gotten to flipping legend yet. So I think you're all right.
yeah.
So in a Hearthstone sense, what's your favorite class to play?
Well, I have. I think Frid, you and I may be in the similar boat because I don't have like tens of thousands of wins like some of these guys, but I have 7 of 9 classes golden. I think you said you have all of them golden now, that's pretty awesome, by the way. But overall, I think my favorite, if I had to pick one, would be Control Warrior and Freeze Mage. I like the with Control Warrior, I think just pressing the tank up button and outlasting opponents is probably my favorite part of playing the deck. Something about like grinding opponents out of all their resources and knowing you had to make a lot of like smart decisions to get to that point.
Yes,
it's probably my favorite part.
So you're like, okay, I'm showing 8 damage. He is at 10. I'm gonna set up a lethal.
Yeah.
Shield block. Tank up, you're like, oh crap.
Exactly. Yep. You see the other side, they just kind of freeze for a second. It's like, oh, dang it.
And then they have, the other day I was playing against one and he pulled off the Bran Ancient, what's the name?
The Ancient Shield Bearer?
Yeah,
20
like 20 armor. I was like, forget this.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Who's going to come back from this? It's like, This is rough. Okay, so you like that style. Yeah. I've talked a lot on the show about, being a dad with a career and all that stuff. The time that I do put in, I try to get many games as possible because I don't have that much free time and, running a podcast and all this stuff. So those control games that last 20 minutes are just not my thing. And not because it's like, okay, I can play 4 games of something else or one of these. And you run into them enough that it already takes 20 minutes if you're facing it. So, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Another thing is, are you like a free-to-play? How did you build up your collection when you got started, and what do you do now?
Definitely not free-to-play.
Okay.
I've spent my fair share on the game, although thankfully I made pretty much most of it back up with the my top 8 finish, so that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of started out with the buying some classic packs and adventures. See, when I started, it was just GVG, Nax, and BlackRock, and then it was the summer after I started playing that they came out with the Grand Tournament. So I basically just kind of bought everything up front.
Okay.
And I've been keeping up ever since. Yeah, no like Cinderella story of getting earning everything free or anything. So I suspect most people aren't like that, but yeah. So it just kind of.
I think if you came into the game when those sets are out, if you're trying to grind it out, it's going to take so long, and if you want to be competitive, there's just no way. Like, we started playing in beta, so there was nothing. So you're like, okay, I'm just going to build my collection as I can, and,
Yeah.
And then when the sets come in, you kind of... I think I did Nax with... Was it gold? No, I bought it, but the first wing was free. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah,
anyway.
First wing of Nax was free.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But there was some math that I did. I think it was better to buy packs than to buy the wings than to buy packs because of the amount of cards you got. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
I ended up buying them, but yeah, right now it's I buy the $50 thing every time it comes out, and with the amount of gold that I collect, it's enough to give me the dust I need to make anything I want, basically. So.
Yeah. I think that is the one nice part about the standard format is that new players who could potentially really make a splash in the scene and stuff don't have to spend a whole bunch of money getting a backlog of cards, to jump into the competitive format. So.
However, they will not know what Dr. Boom is, and that's just a bad feeling. Turn 7's like bam.
Is that really such a bad thing though? I don't know.
I think everybody needs to experience it.
That's true.
It was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, I'm out of it, but hold on, off the top, here it comes, turn 7.
Yep.
Dr. Boom. Okay, we're back in it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's sort of the background, but now how did we jump from that to now you're top 8 at DreamHack? I mean, that's a grueling. They use Swiss, right? And then you get into the top 16. Well, tell us about it.
So you want me to tell you about kind of the event structure?
Yeah. How did you make it through?
Any and all info.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, the event itself was an open. So as long as you had, a visitor pass to DreamHack, you could sign up. And so I signed up pretty close to when they announced it. So it was limited to 200 spots though. So you had to get your name in the hat. I think there ended up being like 180 people or something like that. But basically it was 9 rounds of Swiss over 2 days. So the first day it was 5 rounds of Swiss. And I went 4-1 in those 5 rounds. And then the next day was the final 4 rounds of Swiss. I went 3-1 in those. And so 7-2 overall in Swiss was good enough for the cut to top 16. So they took the top 16 players record-wise from the Swiss rounds. And then after that point, I played my round of 16 match and won that one. And then had my top 8 match against Chalky on Sunday. So, and then I ended up losing that one to him. Obviously, he became the champion, but
oh man!
So
you ran into the champ. That's just a rough draw there.
Yeah, it was.
Who was your top 16 opponent?
Zalay. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. Team Argon.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. He plays warrior and stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We played in the Swiss rounds. He was my last opponent day 1 in the Swiss rounds. He beat me 3-2, 3-2, and then in the top 16, I beat him 3 games. I beat him 3-2. So it was very, very close, lineups and matchup wise. So those were both of those were probably my favorite series throughout the whole tournament. So
I have a real-time question here from the chat. Mr. Jones says, I want to hear about the Control Warrior mirror with Chalky.
Okay, so the Control Warrior mirror with Chalky. The matchup, so he made... I went back and watched the VOD and stuff too. I couldn't find any mistakes he made. Though I think I made... My hand ended up being just super awkward to where I was the one in the position of having to just dump cards for no value, which is never the position you want to be in that mirror matchup. But basically, my hand was full of targetable spells. So I had very early on, I had both executes, both shield slams, both brawls, both shield blocks. You never want to play those in that matchup. So I had this hand full of unplayable stuff, and eventually it got to the point where I played my Sylvanas out, and then he ended up dropping his Acolyte the following turn and gave me the Acolyte, which ended up causing me to draw 2 more cards, and that ultimately I think was the swinging point of that game. Now looking back on it, I didn't want to burn my Golden Monkey, but it was probably correct to pass on 10 cards instead of playing out the Sylvanas in that situation. And I think that might have been my one mistake, that matchup, which, he makes 0 mistakes, I make 1 mistake. In that sort of matchup, he's probably going to win. So.
Yeah, that's normally enough. I think I watched that one. I don't remember. I watched so much, and I'm always doing other stuff. But I think I remember that play.
Yep.
It's not unusual. It happens, but...
Yep. So that was a close one, and I have played that matchup a decent amount, and I kind of I know how to play the matchup. It's just my hand there was nothing playable in it, and so
you want to turn all those removals into legendaries if you don't
legendaries
get to use
exactly,
them.
Yeah, or at least like I had some Bloodhoof Braves and stuff like that at the bottom of my deck. At least being to play those out or something would have been better than any of the other cards. So
Okay. So what was
it happens.
the score with the chalky man?
So he ended up sweeping me 3-0, which you look at that line and you think, wow, he just got hammered. But it was actually pretty close. I talked with, I don't know if y'all know who VLPS is,
Yes. I
but
know.
we kind of theory crafted. He plays for Team Splice. We theory crafted. I went up to him and asked him for advice on my ban. I ended up banning his Paladin because I knew he was going to ban my Freeze Mage. But we were kind of talking through bans and stuff, and he brought up the possibility. He's like, because I was also running Miracle Rogue, and so VLPS was like, your lineup's really. We both came to the conclusion that my lineup was pretty favored against his, but that the worst case would be that his Warrior sweeps mine, or my lineup, and that's exactly what ended up happening. He was able to get past my Shaman in game one, which I don't know if y'all watched that game either, but that game was super close. I was like one turn away from lethal several times because I was holding a Bloodlust. But he kept having answers. He kind of did the control warrior thing.
Yep.
So after that point, he was able to sweep my lineup. But sometimes that happens. I really enjoyed Last Hero Standing because I've played a lot of like tournaments that have been Conquest, like online opens and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed Last Hero Standing. I think it adds a lot of strategy to your lineup as well as to your bans and stuff because you gotta consider a lot of factors. It's like which one of my decks could 3-0 his decks, which one of his could 3-0 mine. If the matchups end up going like this, how's this going to play out? Whereas Conquest, you got to win with each deck anyway, so it almost doesn't matter considering those things, right? So I liked the format quite a bit.
Yeah, but it seems like the Blizzard stuff remains Conquest best of 5
Exactly.
with one ban, right? That's how they're running them.
Yeah, it's Conquest with one ban, best of 5. So it's like the same thing except it's Conquest instead of Last Year Standing. But I don't know if y'all saw this, but RDU posted an article, I think it was today, about kind of some of the same criticism. He just wishes that, and I think a lot of players share the same sentiment, that Blizzard would sanction officially more Last Hero Standing tournaments. And I'd definitely be on board with that. Maybe have a mix of Conquest and Last Hero Standing, just kind of keep things interesting. So.
Okay. Well, maybe they'll listen to the community and maybe change the format around.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So you performed really well there, and what's next on your plans? Are you qualified for any of the preliminaries, or you could?
So I missed out on the upcoming spring preliminaries by 1 point. So we were talking about Firebat earlier. He kind of got, I'm not going to say cheated out of points, but there was some big miscommunication and like some points he earned. But either way, we ended up tied in the point standings. We were both, and along with a few other players. One of them's name is Green Mango. We were all at 9. Cutoff was 10.
Oof.
So that was a little rough.
I heard a story where he drove to some place or traveled there, and the tournament ended after midnight, so that caused the points to not count. It was awful.
Yep, that's what happened.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a rough situation for him. So nothing like that happened to me. I missed the cutoff fair and square, but still, missing by 1 is probably the worst. Yeah,
painful.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
But I did get 2 points, 2 BlizzCon points from this top 8, and so hopefully I can make a run at summer. Because like I said, I played in the winter preliminaries after winning the Austin Tavern Hero. I ended up getting top 64. So we'll see. Maybe summer has something in store.
Cool.
You never know.
Yep.
And
Cool.
okay, do you stream Hearthstone or plan on doing anything like that, or are you just gonna continue focusing on just playing the online tournaments and trying to qualify for the big one?
Yeah, I haven't done much streaming. I haven't done really any streaming at all. And most of it because I, working, trying to hold down a full-time job and also play Hearthstone competitively it's pretty tough. Not gonna lie, you definitely sacrifice some other areas of life. So I think it's about all I can do right now just to kind of try to stay competitive. But at some point, I may try to get into the Twitter thing and streaming maybe a couple times a week or something. We'll just see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm not sure if you probably not heard my story, but when when we started when we started the show, I was more into the competitive stuff, and I made it to the Pinnacle 4, and I almost won the Pinnacle 4. I got
oh
second
wow,
place. That's when they still ran them, and they ran an open qualifier, so I ran through all that. And
nice.
what I realized, though, is to your point, it just takes a lot of time, and
Hmm.
some of those tournaments are all day or all night affairs, and I
Yep.
can't do that.
Yep.
I don't want to. I always say I don't want to hide in here. And my daughter's like, "Who's that guy who's in that room locked away?" And my wife is
Yep.
like, "I don't know him
Exactly.
anymore." So the
Yeah.
show and just kind of trying to grind to legend, it seems to be where it is right now because
Yeah.
to try to
Yeah.
compete, it's a lot of even more time commitment. So
Yeah. That's a fact for sure.
I,
So
I should just suck it up and start entering opens and stuff because I actually could work out the time to play through them. I'm just not quite good enough to be that competitive
it's
yet.
a different
yeah,
experience though, Dan, when you get in there because
it is.
it's different. You'll see different things in tournaments than you do on an everyday ladder. So, okay.
Okay, I guess there's some open tournaments out there I could probably get into.
Yep.
Yeah, it's there. It's all you have to do is go. There are a couple of different websites that host them almost daily, at least every couple of days. So
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to plug or tell people before we move on to some of the business of the show?
no, we can move on. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
and thanks for sharing. That was pretty cool about the tournament stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know. So close, but that's how you. I mean, you start that way, and eventually you break through. So you just keep at it.
Oh yeah. No, I was happy. I don't think I could have been much happier than top eight. You're talking 180 people,
Yeah.
200 people, and almost half are pros, or at least like 50 or 60 of them. So I was pretty happy.
Yeah,
So.
it's a grueling gauntlet that you have to
Oh
go
yeah,
through.
that was a gauntlet for sure. I played 5 or 6 in Swiss, so
Oof.
Shockey, right? That's who won.
Yes.
yep,
And that's actually his first big win, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he known
it
for like
is
coming in second a
Yeah.
whole bunch of times?
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, that was the big storyline coming out of it. So
Yep.
yep,
Okay, so on to a couple of business before we get into the deck. No Holo Legends. So again, for listeners and for JASM's purposes, what's happened is the show is about helping Dan become legendary, right? And we put the content out there, and all these people started coming out and saying, "Hey, the show helped me make it to legend." So they send in their story, how the show helped them, and we've actually immortalized them on the website. So there's a whole page. There's 14 of them that have sent their story of legend. So we don't have one this week, but that's out there. So if you have made it to legend and you think the show helped you in any way, we'd love to hear from you. You could send that to hearthcoachpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. We
Dan?
did have
Yep.
a yeah that happened from listener Gerard, and all I'm gonna say is holy cho, dude. That was kind of a unique way to win. I'd never seen something like that happen before. So
Yeah, that
you'll
happened is you send a screenshot of some kind of interesting thing that happened in the game, and we also post those in a page with some captions, and some are very interesting, like this one. So. Okay, we had 2 new iTunes reviews. So we have now 6 towards making yet another new video. One's from Errant, and another one from DFace022. So Thank you very much. We're closing in on the 100 reviews on the US store, so keep them coming. As you know, this helps us be in the index high up on iTunes so that you can find
Yep.
us when you search for Hearthstone. So we
Up
really
there
appreciate
mingling
this.
with them, mingling around with them real professional types in their big studios.
Yep. Okay, we also had a new patron this week coming in at rank 5. This is big. David R. We really appreciate the support. That gets you entry into the tournament. You will be on the Friends of the Show page next month. And you get quarterly coaching. So, big one. And thank you so much for the support. Again, if you want to learn more about all of these rewards, go to patreon.com/HearthCoach. Speaking
Yep.
of tournament, May 28th is our tournament. Again, you need to register for this if you were a patron that qualified during the period, which was up to the end of April. We have 8 players registered already. So again, it's at 1 p.m. Eastern on May the 28th. So you still have time to register, but you have to register if you want to play. The information, again, if you were one of the paid Patreons that qualified, would be on patreon.com/HearthCoach. Anything else, Dan? Think we got it all?
No, I think we've covered business rather well.
All right. Well, with that, we will move on to the deck of the week, and I will yield the floor to JASM to take us through what looks like a Malygos Freeze Mage here. So, we haven't done a lot of this, so this will be fun. So, can you talk us through the card choices and this whole deck?
Yeah, sure. So just as a kind of a background, this is a deck. This is one of the decks that I got top 8 card for card at DreamHack. And I brought it, my lineup at DreamHack, it was Freeze Mage, Miracle Rogue, Control Warrior, and Midrange Shaman. And so I brought those decks with the intention of banning out aggro Shaman, or Shamans in general, right? So I'm hoping today we don't run into a whole ton of Shaman because it may make the deck look kind of bad. You have to you have to kind of have a nut draw in order to even beat their like average to above average draw. So that's like one of the tougher matchups. But hopefully we don't run into too much of that. But basically, I put in the Malygos because I knew banning out the Shaman that I would be facing mostly slower decks, stuff like Ends Off Paladin, or Control Priest, Ends Off Priest, different kinds of Warrior. And Malygos really, really shines in those matchups because you can just do so much damage from hand. The kind of dream scenario is where you do Emperor Thor, get an Emperor Thorsan tick on both Lances, both Frostbolts, and Malygos, and that you can do 34 damage from hand with that combo. So yeah, not too shabby. So that Paladins can have all the healing in the world, but if you OTK them, it doesn't matter, obviously, right? So as far as the list goes, I'll just run through it real quick. It's mostly standard type Freeze Mage cards. It's double Ice Lance, double Frostbolt, Blood Mage Thalnos, double Doomsayer, double Loot Hoarder, double Novice Engineer, double Arcane Intellect, double Forgotten Torch, double Frost Nova, one Ice Barrier, double Ice Block, double Acolyte of Pain, double Fireball, double Blizzard, Emperor Thorsan, one Flame Strike, Alexstrasza, and Malygos. So this deck looks pretty similar to the pre-standard counterpart, obviously, with the notable exception of Mad Scientist. So obviously Mad Scientist, fantastic against aggressive decks because you get to contest the board early, and you get the benefit of playing a 3-mana spell for free and thinning your deck. So it did lots of things for Freeze Mage. So kind of the way we compensate for that after Standard is by just including more cycle. Because honestly, maybe the most important thing about Mad Scientist was that it thinned your deck, so you're able to draw into a lot of your key cards more efficiently. So those are replaced. The Mad Scientists are replaced after Standard with Loot Hoarders. And so Loot Hoarders, obviously their Death Rattle, it's a 2/1 2 mana 2/1 minion. Death Rattle, draw a card. So the 2 attack is pretty good for contesting early board states against aggressive and mid-range decks, and then obviously drawing the card is what we're most concerned about. We really want, the goal of the deck is you want to be able to contest the early board with stuff like Loot Hoarders, stuff like Doomsayers can buy you a lot of time and tempo. Stuff like Forgotten Torches, all the while cycling through your deck with stuff like Novice Engineers and Arcane Intellects, stalling the board out with big AoEs like Frost Nova plus Doomsayer, or Blizzards, or Flame Strikes. And eventually, after doing that, you'll be able to have accumulated a bunch of burn. And after that, there are kind of lots of different ways you can go. You can Alexstrasza them in the face and then throw a bunch of burn at their face. You can get that big Malagos combo I mentioned and just kill them from 30 without even needing Alexstrasza. So each matchup has a kind of some different flavors about different scenarios. So, but that's the general idea of the deck.
So it looks like generally it's like a third is just cycle, things that replace itself or just gets you more cards. There's another third or so that's burn.
Yep.
And then there's the stalling stuff like the Blizzards and the Doomsayers and Frost. Is it Frost Nova in here? Yeah, Frost Nova in here. And the barrier. Yep. Oh, only one barrier. Okay.
One barrier, and the main reason for that is just because we no longer get it for free from Scientists. So a lot of times you just would rather cycle through your deck as opposed to paying 3 mana to gain 8 life. Now, obviously, we still include double Ice Block because the card is busted. I was actually pretty surprised that wasn't one of the ones they nerfed.
Yeah.
Just because it's so powerful. Buying a turn and a combo deck is an amazing thing to be able to do.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Another thing, and it's also in the chat, is the absence of Tony. So what's the story there? Archmage Antonidas is not here.
Yeah. So the reason this is very similar to basically the torch list, if not card for card similar, except I subbed out the Pyroblast for the Malagos. So the Malagos kind of becomes the Archmage, if you will. I personally like it better because Archmage is inherently a slow card, right? You got to play him for 7 mana, and then you got to cast spells, and then the next turn you have to cast the fireballs themselves. So it's a slow card. What I like about Malagos is that there are a couple things I like about Malagos. One is that you're able to, if you get a combo, together, you can OTK the slower decks. And then also what I like, I think an underrated aspect of the card is that against aggressive decks, it allows you to be able to use some of your burn on minions more liberally, and then just hold on to, say, like a discounted Malagos and Frostbolt, and that Frostbolt all of a sudden still becomes 8 or 9 damage. So it allows you to play. You kind of play it a little bit differently. You can use stuff like fireballs and torches and stuff on minions, and then still know that you're with Malagos and Frostbolt and Ice Lance or something like that. So.
All right. Well, Dan, do you have any questions about this before we head into the games here?
Oh, not right now, but I'm sure I'll have plenty when we get going.
It's a fun deck. It's one of the more satisfying ones to play, I think, in Hearthstone.
It's very frustrating, is what it is. But let's see.
It's frustrating to play against. We'll put
yes.
it. I mean,
yes, it is.
That's okay. It takes some finesse to play this. So, all right.
But I can hear Face Hunter can be a real pain to play against too.
Well,
yep.
It can be if you don't.
Are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Hitting the button.
I'm gonna spectate you here when it shows up.
All right. Well, it's thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's going to pick one any
Here we
moment
go.
now.
I am
All right.
going
I'm
in.
joining.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Shaman.
Just like I said. Okay, so
Let's
against
avoid
Shaman.
shaman, and here's what we get.
Yep. Like I said, in tournament format, you can just ban these guys out, but on ladder, we unfortunately have to deal with them kind of often. So typically, what I do against Shaman is I mulligan for Doomsayer. So
All right. So
because
I
you
got.
really need something to contest the early board, Doomsayer or something like Loot Hoarder maybe, but I would toss this
So
whole hand.
unless we get Doomsayer or Loot Hoarder, we don't want it in the
I
opening
think
hand.
against
Okay, so
Shaman, I
we don't
think
want
yeah.
against Shaman. So we want Forgotten Torch or this Flame Strike or this Ice Lance or this Blood Mage I drew.
Yeah.
So we're putting those back. And let me see. What do we get here? I get an Acolyte of Pain, a Loot Hoarder, Frost Nova, and a Frost Bolt.
Okay.
It's not bad.
So this is workable, especially with the coin. We have some flexibility.
Alright, it's turn 1 for our friend the shaman. The tunnel truck should be coming, but maybe not. Let's see. He's thinking.
He's thinking really hard how he's going to spend his 1 mana.
No, nothing. He passed. No tunnel truck, so that's good.
So do we coin out Loot Hoarder?
So if he had played something, I might coin out the Loot Hoarder in anticipation of him playing something, and then maybe we Frostbolt or ping it the next turn. But in this case, I would save it just in case we draw, say, something like a Doomsayer. We could Frost Nova Doomsayer on 4 instead of 5. So I like to keep my options open if he doesn't drop anything.
So we'll just pass this turn.
I think so, yeah.
All right, so in my hand, I have an Ice Lance, the coin, Frostbolt, Frost Nova, Loot Hoarder, and Acolyte of Pain, and that's my turn.
Alright, turn 2 for shaman.
So he presses the button. It looks like, based on these 2 turns, it might be mid-range, which is a significantly better matchup for this deck.
Okay. Well,
So in this case, I think I would just... Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
No, I drew Malagos, and I was going to say, do we play Loot Hoarder now, or do we ping off the...
I think Loot Hoarder is fine. Another option to consider is coining the Acolyte, but that gets pretty punished by Rockbiter weapon. So I think we're fine with saving the coin and just playing the Loot Hoarder.
Okay. That's what we do, and that's my turn.
Alright, it's turn 3 for shaman. He had that 1/1 on the board. He plays a Tuskar Totemic on the wrong spot as far as I'm concerned, but
Yeah.
positioning there on the wrong
I've been
side
getting
of the totem.
better at that, at making sure I go to the left.
And
Okay,
then
so
he-
I got a loot. I
he
got
got
a
a-
loot hoarder
sorry,
for
the-
my Loot Hoarder.
He
Go
got
ahead.
a Searing Totem out of the Tuskar, and then he traded the Searing Totem into the Loot Hoarder.
And I got a Loot Hoarder for my Loot Hoarder, and I drew a Doomsayer. Turn 3. So does this one I go ahead and drop the Acolyte?
So there are a few different options here. You could drop the Acolyte, but he will just trade into it with his 3/2, and so you'll get one draw out of it, and he still has a 3/1, right? So I think I'm actually okay with dropping the Loot Hoarder here.
Okay.
Because Doomsayer is something to consider there, but there are a lot of things that he could get rid of it pretty easily. Rockbiter weapon, Flame Tongue Totem. So I would rather save the Doomsayer with to use it with the Frost Nova, and then make him have Hex to answer it. So.
All right. So that's what we do. I end my turn.
Turn 4, he's got the Tuskar and the Searing Totem, and he plays the Flame Breathe Faceless, that 7/7 we were talking about that you should include. Trades the Searing Totem into the Loot Hoarder, goes face for 3, setting Dan to 27. And that's the turn.
Okay.
All right, and I drew a Fireball from the Loot Hoarder and a Forgotten Torch on my turn. We kind of need to get rid of the 7/7, don't we?
Yeah. So what do you think, Dan?
Gosh, do we is this a Frost Frost Nova Doomsayer move.
I think that's what I like. I think we make him have the hex here. Otherwise, so another thing
Okay.
when you play Doomsayer is you also always want to look into what you can do the next turn with the tempo you bought from playing the Doomsayer. And so if we do this, we get to empty our hand a little bit and also play the Acolyte plus ping next turn. So I like this a lot. Obviously for the board clear, but for what we can do next turn as well. So this is where you cross your fingers and hope no hex.
All right, it's turn 5. He only has 3
okay.
mana, and he had the hex, or he drew it. I
Okay.
didn't see, but he hexed our Doomsayer, so now it's a little frog.
Well, I drew an Ice Lance. Yeah.
So
Oh.
so the priority is going to be getting the 7/7 off the board, right? But
So
I'm not liking the ways that we can do it right now. So I think and so we also know he's a mid-range shaman at this point, probably, with all the cards he's played, and so he's not going to be running a lot of the burn. So I think we might be okay to take like maybe one hit from that guy. So I kind of like developing the Acolyte and pinging it, and then kind of seeing what we draw. And then this also sets up for a potential fireball ping on the 7/7 the next turn.
Yeah, so we're drawing a card here.
So that's what I do. I draw another Doomsayer off of that play. So I have
Okay,
Doomsayer, Ice
that's not
Lance,
bad.
Forgotten Torch, a Fireball, Malagos, Ice Lance, and a Frostbolt in my hand.
We have almost all the stuff JASM was talking about, except another Frostbolt and an Emperor. So let's see.
Yep.
All right, turn 6, full mana.
Oh man, I would love to pull that off. That'd be fun.
6 cards. That Tuskar is still with us as well as the 7/7. Let's see what he does here. He's thinking.
He's
fanning
wondering.
around. So you're thinking we'll have to fireball this thing next turn if we don't get any answers?
So with the Doomsayer draw, we can hope for a potential another Frost Nova, or we can possibly Ice Lance the 7/7 plus Doomsayer.
Okay.
So we kind of can see what he develops here.
Alright, so he played a totem, and it was another Searing Totem, which is the 1/1. Trades the Tuskar into the frog. Plays a thing from below, and the 7/7 goes straight to the dome.
Oh boy.
Strike.
We draw a Flame Strike that we can't play yet.
So
Boy.
I think that you can trade in the Acolyte to the 5/5. Maybe see what we pick up.
Frost Nova, maybe?
Frost Nova.
Novice Engineer.
So I think what we have to do is I think we have to Fireball ping the 7/7 and then be able to Flame Strike his board next turn. We'll eat 9 damage this turn, but kind of hoping he doesn't have Bloodlust here. I think that would end the game, or pretty close to it.
Yeah, but we don't
Alright,
have
so
any, no secrets up. Yeah.
No secrets up either, yeah.
So that's what I do. So I got Novice Engineer, Flame Strike, Doomsayer, Ice Lance, Forgotten Torch, Malagos, Ice Lance, and Frostbolt in my hand.
Turn 7 for Shaman. He's still at 30 health. That doesn't matter. 3/2 Tuskar still with us. Searing Totem and a 5/4 thing from below. 6 cards in hand. And he totems again. It's a spell power. The Wrath of Air totem. And
He's either thinking about it or he's just trying to torment us with.
the Bloodlust. No, well, let's see. That's 9 and 9 is 18. No, it wouldn't ended. We would be alive.
Okay.
We would be at 2. Another 7/7. Jeez.
Another one.
Oh,
Fun. That's a really fun card to play against, huh?
yeah.
Jeez. Okay,
Alright,
so we're gonna take the
Frost
9.
Nova?
Please, Frost Nova.
We're down
We
to
need the other
11, right? Down to 11.
Come on, Frost
So
Nova.
if we don't draw a Frost Nova, we might have to get cute with our freeze in hand, unfortunately. We'd like to use that to kill him, but staying alive is number one priority. So
Right.
Alright, so he ropes us all the
Ugh.
way to the end and all that stuff, and now
So I draw my other novice engineer.
okay, so we have 7 mana. So technically, we could play a novice into a nova, and then and even if we don't hit the nova, we still have 5 mana left over. So I think we're okay with novicing here.
So you want to play the novice and ping it?
well, you get the card.
Oh, it
Yeah,
draws.
so
I'm
you
sorry.
get the card. Yeah, yeah.
That'll try. Ice barrier from it.
So I think what we have to do here is I think we have to frostbolt. Okay, so the setup here would be frostbolting the 7/7 to take it down, to freeze it obviously, and take it down to 4 health. Ice
And Ice Lance
Lancing
it?
the in the no, and then Ice Lance the 5/4, and then play Doomsayer. We gotta hope. I think in order to win, the winning line is to hope this Doomsayer sticks. Even if it doesn't, we can Flame Strike next turn because we took the 7/7 down to 4 health.
Yeah.
So
Alright, so it's turn 8, but he only has 6 mana. He still has 6 cards. There's a frozen 7/4, a frozen 5/4, spell power totem. Oh,
okay, so he wins with that.
he got the bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
Yeah. Well, that's that.
Yep.
Oh well.
Shamans be shamans.
Yeah. Even if we did barrier, it wouldn't have been enough, I don't think,
No.
to withstand the hits. So, because you wouldn't have frozen one of these. So,
All right.
All right.
Hopefully that's
Hey.
our shaman for the day. Whoa.
All right.
well, it's like
Yeah,
you said,
we can hope.
the shamans tend to be problematic for this deck.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I was in a tournament format. You can just ban them. So that's kind of a luxury. Okay. So Rogue is, I would say, pretty close to 50-50. I think it's slightly freeze flavored, just from personal experience. So we can do the mulligan first, though.
Okay. I got a Loot Hoarder, Blizzard, Frostbolt, and Blood Mage. I know we're not going to keep the Blizzard.
Right.
I'd be inclined to keep the rest of these if it was me, but
So I would probably mull the Blood Mage and the Blizzard, but the Frostbolt and the Loot Hoarder I think are acceptable. They have a lot of 3 health stuff that's useful to clear with Frostbolt, and Loot Hoarder for the draw and early gameplay. So
already. I get Ice Block. Where were you last game?
No.
And an Ice Lance.
So the thing about this matchup is that Rogue tends to have moderately slow starts, and
Yeah.
so that benefits us.
So let's ask Dan a question. What is turn 1 play for Rogue?
Yeah, they usually pass.
Yeah, so
Except for that one game that we talked about it, and they played a Loot Hoarder, or not a Loot Hoarder. What was it?
yeah, it was
They called the
Argent Squire or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it happened
Kind of
one
an echo.
time.
Yeah. So anyway,
Alright.
the Rogue pass on turn 1. So yeah.
All right, and I drew a Blood Mage Thalnos. Do I coin out Loot Hoarder?
I think you're fine passing here because he's just going to
Okay.
dagger up, hit it next turn anyway. So he probably daggers up here anyway. So
Yeah.
we just give him something a little inefficient to do.
So turn 2, she daggers up and passes.
All right, so now we just go ahead and drop the Loot Hoarder.
Yeah.
All right, and I drew Malagos. I have Malagos, Blood Mage Thalnos, the coin, Loot Hoarder, Ice Lance, Frostbolt, and Ice Block in my hand. I'm going to play the Loot Hoarder, and that is my turn.
Turn 3 for the Rogue. Let's see if
He
we-
might just drop a 3-drop.
He swings into the Loot Hoarder, kills it, takes 2 damage, plus ASI 7 agent, naked.
And I got a Frostbolt off of my Loot Hoarder, and I draw my other Ice Lance.
We have everything, Dan. We just need
We
Emperor.
do.
And
Just need Emperor and to live till turn 10.
and turn 10. That's it.
Well,
So-
let's see if we can do that.
We could clear this, but I think I like just playing the ice block here, being mana efficient. I don't foresee him going all in on this SI agent, so I think we can take a little bit of damage.
All right, so I play my ice block. So in my hand, I have both ice lances, a frostbolt, the coin, blood mage Thalanos. I have 2 frostbolts in my hand, and Malagos, and that's my turn.
So when you say all in, you're thinking like cold blood and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so he swings in with the SI, hits us for 3, plays the other SI, naked, and then swings in with a dagger. So he sets us at 26.
So
And I draw an Acolyte of Pain.
I think I'm okay with killing one of these at this point. I think we could probably play the Blood Mage to go with it. Force him to either hit it with the 3/3 or spend 2 of his mana next turn daggering up.
Okay, so we're going to play Blood Mage and then Frostbolt one of the others?
Yeah, I think so.
No more 34 damage combo. So sad. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see it one day. Maybe next
All right,
one.
One day.
And so I do that. I have the Acolyte, still have 2 Ice Lances, Malagos, the coin, and a Frostbolt in my hand.
Alright, it's turn 5 for Rogue. 6 cards. He's playing the one that he drew. It's the Journey Below. This is one of the new ones. It's discovering a Death Rattle card. So this may be in the sauce. Or Raptor. Then he backstabs the Blood Mage. And then he plays a Van Cleef for 6/6. And swings into the face with the SI. Setting us down to 23.
And I got a Ice Block off of...
The
How
Blood
did I get
Mage.
the ice? Oh, from Blood Mage Thalanos
Mhm.
gave me the Ice Block. And then I drew Forgotten Torch. I'm at 5 mana.
So this isn't the fun way to play this deck, but I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know. Now, am I correct in assuming we're kind of getting the back end of the deck first?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
This is all the
absolutely
stuff
correct
we
in
wanted
assuming
at
that.
the end.
Yeah,
This
the
is,
burn.
this is what we want at the end. Literally all of it so far.
This is. I can't. I don't know if it's just me, but this seems to happen to me more than it should. But anyway,
It's you may have to just torch the. I like clearing everything. I like torching the 3/3 and then Frostbolt, Coin, Ice Lance on the Edwin. I think
Oh wow, okay.
we have to preserve our life here.
There goes the burn.
Yeah, this is
I
like
followed directions basically.
it's unfortunate, but it's like y'all hit the nail on the head. We drew the entire back half with the deck we wanted the back half first, so
Alright, turn 6, dagger up, and the Tomb Pillager that is not from his deck, but from the Journey Below.
I
So-
draw.
I like Acolyte Ping, I think. The Fireball, we may actually need to finish him off at this point, and the Acolyte might also absorb an attack from the Tomb Pillager. So
Yes, I drew a Fireball, so I'm going to play the Acolyte, ping it for a card. I get a Doomsayer.
okay, that's good. He hasn't drawn a whole lot of cards yet, so maybe he doesn't
Well,
have sap.
Turn 7 is gonna be Auctioneer.
Could be.
So
Sap,
in my hand, I have the
Yeah,
Doomsayer,
prep, conceal,
Fireball. Ice
You must
block.
have played against Miracle Rogue before, Fred.
deadly poison, draws like 28 cards. Alright, let's see. 5 cards in hand, 7 mana, 28 health, and the Tomb Pillager is still there. There
How
he
did
is.
you know?
Catches in. Deadly poison.
Poison.
Okay, well maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. No prep. All right, no prep.
He's swinging into the Acolyte. Kills it. We get Forgotten Torch. Swings in. Oh, that's it. No craziness. Just regular 1 card cycle.
Regular things. Um,
And I drew Alex Straza. So I have Alex Straza, Forgotten Torch, Doomsayer, Fireball, Ice Block, Ice Lance, and Malagos in my hand.
so, unfortunately, no Flame Shark, no Blizzard, no Frost Nova.
Yeah,
So
we
I
have 2
think-
of all them.
we may just be torching, pinging the gadgets in. Taking 5 again is. I don't know if we want to do that. We could also, since we have no more freeze, we could fireball the gadgets in, ice lance the Tomb Pillager and Doomsayer.
Right, that's what I do.
Whew.
I follow directions and get it done in the nick of time.
Man, all the burn just gone.
Yeah, that's the. So is he sapping it?
Yeah, it's turn 8.
We're actually okay if he saps it.
I play the Azure Drake first.
You're gonna eviscerate. Oh, he's sapping.
Sapping
Okay.
the Doomsayer.
So Flame Strike, Frost Nova, Blizzard, Flame Strike.
Flame
That'll work.
Strike. There it is.
All right, so just flame strike these two.
Yep.
That's a good
For
one.
sure.
I board. The board's
Alright.
gone. And
So
gets
if
a
he doesn't
coin.
have second auctioneer, we're actually like maybe looking okay. These two big bodies in the Alexstrasza and Malagos might be able to put in some work,
Alright, so
especially since we already saw a sap.
he swung in with the dagger for
Oh wow,
3
that's
and
awesome.
just daggered
draw.
up, and that was it. We Alexstrasza
Right,
him
we-
now?
So I think we
Draw
just
Frost
I think
Nova.
we slam Alexstrasza. Yep.
That's what I
All
think.
right. So we play Alexstrasza, who's been hanging out for a while now.
I bring
Not
life
quite as long as Malagos, though.
and death. No, it's not death. What does he bring? I bring life and hope?
I bring life and hope or something like that. I should know. I do play with the sound off most of the time though.
I play life and
Yeah,
death.
me too.
It's not death, but let's just say that. Alright, turn 10. It's a Fan of Knives, which the animation has been broken since the patch. And a sap.
Another sap. Okay, so that's his last one of those.
Alex
We
comes
can-
back into our hand. There's a Blood Mage Thalnos from him. And swing in the face for 1. And dagger up again. He must have all these combo burn piece type stuff. Alright.
Yeah.
And I draw Acolyte of Pain. So we just gonna play Alexstrasza again?
So I kind of like possibly Acolyte, ping the Acolyte, and then also drop a Doomsayer. That way he has to spend a bunch of damage clearing it, or we buy ourselves a lot of tempo.
Let's see what comes out of this Acolyte.
I get a Novice
We
Engineer.
could also go ahead and you could play the Engineer as well. I actually kind of like that.
All right, we'll play the Engineer.
Blizzard.
And you
Blizzard.
could, I would probably just torch
drop-
the Blood Mage.
Don't worry about Doomsayer.
Yeah, I think you can save Doomsayer.
All right, torching.
We got 2 things now, so we want to...
Yeah.
Maybe he has the other fan, but then that gives us another card, so let's see. Alright, turn 11. 7 cards. Still at 15 for the rogue. Has a fresh dagger. Zero poison mine. You got the low poison toxin. 2 damage on the Acolyte. From that...
See, these are all the cards we wanted earlier, but we're getting now to double Blizzard. Last 2 cards drawn.
He swings in and clears the novice, and plays a fresh dagger and a deadly poison.
And there's the other Loot Hoarder. Okay. Do we want to save Alexstrasza to like bring us back up to 15 sometime? Or
Yeah, because playing. Yeah, I think so. After he pops our block, I think that's a reasonable strategy. Honestly,
We Blizzard this thing? Crazy.
I think that we could and play a Loot Hoarder, maybe ping face.
Blizzard?
Yeah, I would. I think you can. I
Okay.
think you're fine with blizzarding it.
I mean, what
Right.
else is that for? Like a Violet teacher, but he hasn't shown
Yeah,
that. So
I mean, you still have another one plus the Frost Nova Doomsayer.
So we Loot Hoarder and ping our Loot Hoarder?
no face.
No, ping his face.
Oh, ping his face. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because rogues typically, the only healing they typically run is maybe like 1 Earthen Ring Farseer. So these pings could add up. And
What about an antique heal bot, man? No.
no more of that. Okay, so there's a torch.
All right, so he Fan of Knives our Loot Hoarder, plays another Azure Drake and conceals the Azure Drake. Sure, buddy. Whatever.
That's
An arcane intellect that we could have used earlier.
Yeah.
yeah, that
Coming
would
in
have been
now.
very helpful. I'd say you could use it now. It's fine.
Go ahead and use the arcane
Let's
intellect.
Get some
Okay.
cards.
I get another arcane intellect and my other novice engineer. Look at all this card draw now.
So I
We
think
don't have any
this
cards
turn,
left.
I think this turn we want a Frost Nova Doomsayer to buy tempo so that we can play a big drop next turn. So I would play Novice Engineer. Maybe see what you draw first.
Novice engineer. Frost Nova.
I would
So-
go ahead and Nova plus Doomsayer.
Frost Nova Doomsayer.
Frost Nova. See, I remember to grab the one from the left.
Yeah.
I've been working at that.
All that
I've
wisdom.
been trying to remember to play my minions to the left too.
Okay, turn whatever this is. Shadow Strike on the Doomsayer, which does 6 because of the spell power. And a swing from the dagger. Here comes a Sinister Strike for 4 to our face. And that's it. So this must be a
Okay.
Malygos list, maybe? I don't know.
So with Emperor, how many cards do you have left in your deck? Okay, 4 cards. So what we want to be careful about here is what you have to remember about Ice Block is that it won't proc on your own turn. So if you take fatigue damage, putting you at lethal, you'll die. So we don't want to get like super low. We want to make sure we have enough time to kill him. So I think what we could do here is Emperor plus Frost Nova. Just go ahead and freeze the 4/4 and push 1 damage to face. And next turn we can Malygos plus Roaring Torch for 11 damage.
Okay. That's what we do. So, next turn, there are 6 cards in Rogue's hand. He's got a 3/1 dagger, the Frozen Azure Drake. He's thinking, I think he was going to backstab the Emperor, but changed his mind. Maybe. He backstabbing the Novice, eviscerating the Emperor, and auctioneering.
Oh, or we
Right.
can just kill him. That's fine too.
Okay.
So
Wait. Oh yeah, 12.
yeah, top deck to the second Roaring Torch.
2
so we
roaring
can
torches to face, and we're done.
Oh, I was like, how are we doing this?
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
now I
hey.
see it. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Got it.
Yep.
2
12
roaring
on the dot.
torches.
Boy, that was a game. We drew our
Wow.
deck completely backwards.
Yeah,
But-
that was pretty amazing there. Everyone needs to go ahead and watch that video. That was pretty spectacular there.
that was a good game for sure.
Wow. Yeah, I never would have figured that out. All right, one more. You got time for one more game, friend?
I do.
Okay.
How about JASM? You need to go, or we're in
No,
the-
I'm free. Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, Priest. Okay, so this is one of the classes we farm. To put it plainly.
Sweet.
Well, that won't hurt my feelings any. These
I
guys
know.
are right pain sometimes.
So
All right, so hang on. All right, I'm going second. I get the coin this time. I'm opening up with a Loot Hoarder, Arcane Intellect, Blood Mage Thalnos, and a Frostbolt. I'm inclined to keep all these cards.
okay, so I personally in this matchup just mull for straight draw. So I like the Blood Mage has utility later on that you'd rather have. You want to draw with other cards preferably.
So,
So,
keep Arcane and Loot Hoarder?
That's what I would do. Yeah.
And we get Malygos, goodness gracious, and Fireball.
Has
You're
he been
way
in your
too
starting
early.
hand like every game or something?
I think so.
He just likes showing up way before he's called upon.
Okay, I drew a Forgotten Torch, so I have that, the coin, Loot Hoarder, Arcane Intellect, Fireball, and frickin' Malygos already, and that's my turn.
Yeah.
All right. Priest is not gonna do anything for like 4 turns. Oh no! Look, wait. He played a museum curator, so
I don't know, that 1/2 pretty scary.
Well, he got something out of that. A death rattle minion.
All right. On my second turn, I draw an Acolyte of Pain, but I imagine I need to go ahead and just drop the Loot Hoarder.
Yep.
And that's my turn.
Well, what's the worst that can happen? He like power word shields it and trades, maybe. But
Yeah.
that's not even. Well, no, he's going face. It's aggro priest and pass. Whoa.
Okay.
All right.
Weird. Okay, I drew a Doomsayer. Do I go ahead and drop the Acolyte of Pain now?
So,
Or Arcane Intellect?
So typically with Arcane, the interaction, or like deciding which one you want to play first between Intellect and Acolyte, generally you want to play Arcane Intellect first. Not only is it immediate draw, but it also might guarantee you more than one draw off your Acolyte later on because you can ping it yourself. So I kind of like maybe trading, see what we get here.
All right, trade first.
Yeah. Probably still Arcane Intellect, but yeah. So you can play Arcane Intellect, and it'll put you at exactly 9 cards.
Okay, I got a Novice Engineer off of my trade, and go ahead and play the Arcane Intellect. I get my other Doomsayer, an Ice Block. So I have Ice Block, 2 Doomsayers, a Novice Engineer, Acolyte of Pain, Forgotten Torch, Coin, and Fireball, and Malgus.
Another museum curator coming in on turn 4. See, the reason why you could, and this is me talking, but I don't play that much Freeze Mage, but you can do all this against priests because they give you time, because they're not going to pressure you with anything. Unless it's one of these crazy, like, Velens, double Mind Blasts, Flash Shield stuff, but it looks like a pretty traditional priest here, so.
Yep.
Alright, so I drew my other Arcane Intellect on this turn. I got 4 mana.
So we're at 10 cards in hand, right? So we obviously don't want to overdraw. So if you play the Novice, on my line here, I think would be Novice and Doomsayer, because I think it would be pretty harsh because he has 4 damage on board. I think it's actually going to be pretty hard for him to deal an extra 3, and even if he does, we're not that sad about it because we have the other one too. So.
All right, that's what I do. I get another Acolyte of Pain from my Novice Engineer. I play my Doomsayer, and that's my turn.
I forgot to mention that he played a huge toad, which came out of the curator last turn. So that's what he has. He has the curator 1/2 and the huge toad at 3/2.
Looks like he can't clear it.
So he's going face, continuing the aggro priest line.
Those aggro priests, man, they'll get you.
And then pass, and then the hit from the toad goes face, of course. So we're down to 24.
I draw a Novice Engineer.
So still at 10 cards, right? So I think what we can do, thankfully we have a playable card that won't like cycle to overcycle us in Ice Block. So I think what we could do is play Novice plus Ice Block, and that'll put us at 9 cards without risk of overdrawing.
All right, Ice Block, Novice Engineer. And I get a Loot Hoarder.
All the cycle in the world.
All the cycle.
That's fine. This is good.
Well, this is what we wanted in the beginning anyway.
All right, 8 cards on turn 6. Is he going to entomb the Novice? No, that doesn't sound good. Cabal Shadow Priest, though. I mean, you take a 1/1, that's something.
The awkward thing about this hand is that it's actually probably too much card draw.
Yeah.
You obviously play a lot of card draw to mitigate when you don't have that much, but drawing all of it and not any of your other cards is bad as well.
Okay, so he played a Cairn and it was off the hand, so this is like Nassau, probably. Because of the Curators and this Cairn, that's what we're looking at, probably.
I think so.
Okay, I drew an Ice Lance.
So I really don't want to overdraw because the rest of our deck is stuff that's going to be pretty important.
Emperor, Alexstrasza, we have Malygos, but
I almost like, and now this this may be kind of a weird line, but I almost like fireballing the Cairn plus
Okay.
Doomsayer. Deny his turn 7 and like free up our hand a little bit because both of these cards don't cycle, obviously, right? So we can use some of this extra draw we have.
All right, so that's what I do.
Yep. Bane is left as a 4/5, 7 turn, 8 cards on the hand. They're real cards. One from Curator because you used one already. Probably a big one, I would suspect, like a Sylvanas or maybe a Chilmaw or something big. Let's see. He's going to face again. That means he can't clear the Doomsayer. Plays just the card True
Like
Heart.
discard to it. Thankfully, that's not going to matter. So he just wasted a 6/3.
And then
Okay,
it's
that's
gone.
a card we like.
The Doomsayer
I
blew
drew
up,
a
and that's it.
Frostbolt.
So we can play Intellect safely, right? Because we'll be at 10 cards.
Okay, we play Arcane Intellect, we get a Blizzard, and Ice Barrier.
Okay.
Throw up Ice Barrier?
I think you can throw up Ice Bear. It's probably fine, yeah.
Yep.
And that's it. That's my turn. Recapping, I have Blizzard, Frostbolt, Ice Lance, Loot Hoarder, 2 Acolyte of Pains, a Forgotten Torch, the coin's still hanging out there right next to Malagos. And that's my turn.
Alright, turn 8 for Priest with 8 cards. Let's see if that big Death Rattle comes out. Let's see. It is Chilmaw.
You called it.
So, I figured it was something big because he hadn't played it. Okay, Chilmaw and a Northshire Cleric.
Okay, and I draw my other Forgotten Torch. Is this Blizzard?
I actually think you're okay with double Forgotten Torching. That way you get some cards out of your hand, and then you could also play the Loot Hoarder afterwards.
Okay, and take out his
Take out the
Chilmaw?
6/6, yeah.
If he happens to have a dragon for some reason, he clears his own board. But
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Doubtful. Yeah, I don't see that either, but we'll see.
Nope.
It would have to be another Chilmaw if anything, and it's not. So
And then I play my other Loot Hoarder,
Yes.
and that's my turn.
So we're probably looking to OTK him at this point, obviously, right? So hopefully we can cycle fast enough before he starts getting any real pressure.
Alright, so he traded the Northshire Cleric into our Loot Hoarder, and then healed the Cleric to draw a card. He's got 8 cards, 7 mana. Let's see. From the top, the Auchenai Soul Priest,
Oh, he's going in.
and Flash Heal our face for 5. And that's it.
We're at 15. I draw Frost Nova.
So I actually think that you could Frost Nova and then double Acolyte. We really need to get these things out of our hand.
So
They're
Frost,
clogging it up big time.
Frost Nova and double Acolyte.
I think so.
All right, Acolyte of Pain and Acolyte of Pain.
All we need is like Emperor and
Emperor
Alex
and a couple
Cross,
other combos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well let's see what happens. It's an Excavated Evil,
That's fine. There's
And-
him.
There's Emperor.
and we draw
Roaring Torch.
a Roaring Torch. And that kills his Cleric, and he does 4 damage to our face because of the Auchenai effect. So we're down to 11.
Oh man. Okay, so we're a frost bullet away from winning the game. Top deck the Ice Lance.
We're gonna see it, Dan. We're gonna see it.
All right, so what are we blizzarding now?
I think Blizzard is okay. Yeah. And
All right,
just
we
ping on
play-
face.
We play Blizzard, and then we ping his face.
Wait, wouldn't with the coin we could do a lot of damage? Well, I didn't count it. Let's see. With the Roaring Torch? Is that... No, I'm doing the infinite mana play, I think. No.
Oh man, that's a big card.
Yeah, there's no Thaw.
Oh,
there it
okay.
is.
Well, there you go. Sometimes lucky boys.
You
All right,
do-
so just
It doesn't matter now, just drop
Okay,
Emperor
so-
yeah.
and we
So
win.
you go ahead and tell them.
All right, so I think I kind of see this, but anyway, we're gonna play Emperor Thorson now,
Yep.
right? And that's all we're doing for the turn, basically.
Well,
You can ping his face, or no, not his face actually. Ping maybe the
Karen?
three, maybe the three. What's gonna trade? Maybe this. You could ping the 6/6 or something like that.
This okay.
I think he's gonna trade Nazar. Maybe
He might trade this off, but this is in case maybe he decides to trade the 6/6. It doesn't matter a whole lot.
We won, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. So we have assembled the full 34 damage combo in glorious fashion.
I want to see it. Finally. All right, so he's playing an Alkanai. So sorry.
He's going to pop our block, I guess,
Yeah.
but it's not going to matter.
We didn't narrate the previous turn, but he dropped the Soth and it came back with a Cairn, a Chillmaw, a huge Toad. Now he's playing Alkanai. He's swinging all
To
the
that
stuff
we
in.
say, congratulations, sir. Good effort, but
You get A for
you are
effort.
playing a freeze mage. Sorry.
Oh, he popped this incorrectly. He could have used
Yeah,
the Toad.
you played that incorrectly.
So,
All right,
all right,
let it
let's
rip,
see it,
Okay.
Dan.
All right,
Show
no,
us.
hang on. First, I guess I need to play Malagos.
Yeah, that would be an important part of it.
All right, we play Malagos. I guess I need to open up with a Frostbolt.
Frostbolt.
Open up with a Frostbolt.
Frostbolt to the face.
Yep.
Frostbolt again.
Hang on, where is it? Okay, oh, there's the other Frostbolt to the face. And now we Ice Lance to the face.
another
And
one.
we Ice Lance to the face.
Man, you're
Boom.
so
There it
dirty,
is.
Dan. That's just
That's real dirty.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't think that priest was expecting that, and it was even more satisfying doing it to a priest.
oh
Yeah.
man,
So,
that's rough.
so thank you.
I can't think
for
of a
that.
better note to end on than that.
I cannot. This is, I was gonna say we usually do about 3 matches an episode. So, and that is like the perfect ending.
Yup.
So,
I mean, you were talking about it since the top of the show, so I'm glad we got to see it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty sick when it happens.
Okay, so as long as you don't run into Shaman, you have a chance.
You're pretty good. Yeah, some of the other matchups, like you're pretty favored against Zoo. You can actually sometimes beat Warrior just because of the amount of burst. So there, as long as you don't run into Shamans, like it's a pretty good ladder deck. So
pretty cool.
yeah, I might have to. Well, that second game, that one was crazy complicated.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
that was
if
a lot.
I
Yeah.
figured that one out on my
Rogue
own
is
or
one
not.
of those like 50-50 matchups where basically it comes down to who plays it better most of the time. So
Yeah, there
That
were
was
some
a-
things there that I probably wouldn't have done myself. So I don't know. It's tricky.
Well, yeah, that was.
no,
that
those were
was
some
much
those were some
fun.
good matches for sure.
So
It's
let's see.
kind of showed the both ends of the spectrum there, bad and good. So
This is,
Yeah, so-
however, somewhat of an expensive deck, right? Because the Ice Blocks, the Doomsayers,
yeah, there's a decent amount of epics.
the Alexstraszas, and the Maligos. So yeah,
Yeah,
this-
there's 4 total legendaries. Yeah, I mean you could play cheaper decks. We'll put it that way.
yeah. This is not.
It's no like control warrior, but it's up there.
It's not a budget deck for sure.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
very
nothing
good.
super competitive is really much of a budget deck
Yeah.
right now either.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Zoo
there
is
might
the
co-
only one that's always cheap, for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Well, I
Well,
think that's good enough for tonight.
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up and put a bow on it.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for doing this tonight and hanging out and coaching with us.
Of course, yeah,
really
that's-
appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun.
Please, everybody, you check out you can find us on all the social medias. Just look up HearthCoach. We're on Twitter, Facebook. Please tell your friends, your neighbors, your coworker, or whoever might be interested to please subscribe to HearthCoach. We're on all your basic podcast feeders, delineators, whatever you want to call them. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play finally got up and going. So please, yes, that's right. Please subscribe. And emails to hearthcoachpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
Please remember our Patreon page at patreon.com/hearthcoach. The more people that become patrons and sign up, the more we will add to the prize monies and whatnot in future tournaments. So
Any
I don't know.
JASM, any last plugs or thank yous or any shout outs you want to?
Shout outs to one of my buddies, obviously Mr. Jones, Bill, for hooking us, connecting us, and helping me get on the show. And then one of my buddies, his name is A Love Supreme. That's his battle tag. But we prepped together for DreamHack. So it was basically us two theory crafting. He did pretty well as well. Yeah. And then, I just made a Twitter for Hearthstone. It's JASM1 _HS. So I haven't really posted anything there yet, but if I get enough followers, I'd be willing to post deck lists and stuff like that, or just chat about the game. So.
Yep, it's on the.
All right.
I think I put it on the screen if you could see it, hopefully. But yeah.
I'm sure we can put it in the notes
The
on
notes as
our
well.
page.
Yep. So very good. Well, I think we covered it all. Thank you again for all your time, and good luck to everybody on the ladder.
Good luck getting the legend, everyone.
Alrighty, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you for
All right.
doing it.
I stopped
Yeah,
the recording.
absolutely.
The stream is still going.
Okay.
If anyone is still watching and you have some like after show kind of questions that you want to ask, we can hang for a few more minutes. So we'll give you some time to type them in if you want, and if not, then we'll close it out. But that was a good one. That second game, man, I don't know.
That was actually like a pretty. I don't think you could have asked for like a better sample there, because it was like bad matchup, pretty even matchup with a lot of tough decisions, and then like an easy matchup where you kind of just draw through your deck and do the thing. So.
Yeah, we had the shaman thing where it's like, oh god, this, and he had
Yep.
all the 7/7s and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Well, if we had the blizzards and the frost novas, then maybe.
Yeah. It could have made it different. We were lacking some freeze. So yeah, those first two games, the draws were pretty rough. Not gonna lie.
I do
But
remember
you make it work.
when you said, "Oh, there's a priest, and this is what we farm." When I was grinding my golden priest, I remember that. I was like, "No, freeze mage! I can't win this. It's impossible."
It's really rough for them, especially the Malagos version, where the Mali freeze is probably favored 95-5 or something.
I mean, there's no way to burst these ice blocks down. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
even if
You have to have like
you play a
early
defensive-
pressure somehow, and then like be able to burst them with Akanize. There's like a lot of things that would have to come together.
All right, Mr. Jones, why didn't you bring Zoo to DreamHack? Now, I would have this question too, because I'm a Zoo guy. What's going on there?
So my lineup was tailored to beat more control and combo decks. Like for instance, Control Warrior is good against Freeze Mage, Patron Warrior, Miracle Rogue. My Malagos Freeze Mage is good against the Paladins, the Priest, all that sort of stuff. Kind of the same thing with the Miracle Rogue. And so my lineup was built with banning Shaman in mind going in. And Zoo is actually one of the few decks that has a pretty good matchup against Shaman. So it is a strong deck, but it didn't make sense with the rest of my lineup.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right,
Cool.
so Mr. Jones again, he's saying, what should folks bring to the HearthCoach tourney?
Well, it depends on the format.
It's
What do you guys? Is
it's
it Conquest?
best of 3 conquest. No
Best
banning.
of 3 Conquest.
No banning.
Okay.
So you bring
No bans.
3 decks
Bring,
and off you go. Single elimination. Pretty straightforward.
bring Shaman, Zoo, and fill in the blank. I don't know. Whatever you want.
Shaman, Zoo, and whatever you want. Rogue,
Yeah.
Paladin,
Insoft, Pally, Rogue. Yeah, something like that.
Warrior, Patron.
Something you're really good with.
Warrior's good. Warrior's a good one. Control or Tempo Warrior would be good.
What do you
so,
think
yeah.
of Patron? No? Patron Warrior?
So that's kind of the question right now, right? And that's still developing is the new kind of tempo build uh, with the Fierce Monkeys, the Arathi Weaponsmith, the Cairn, and all those sorts of cards. Is that better than Patron, which is obviously pretty draw dependent?
I'm showing it.
Uh,
I'm showing it on the screen now, the tempo one. So just for
okay.
people looking at it, yeah, I have. I even have a Malkorok in there.
Yeah, and Malkorok's a pretty standard card. I personally think the tempo is a little bit more consistent right now. It just because like it's like I said, it's a lot less draw dependent, but they both have pretty good matchups against like Zoo and Shaman and stuff. So it's just a matter of I think your comfort level with each deck.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is your thought on Shaman controlling ladder, and what would you use to counter it? I think you said Zoo as one
So
thing.
if you are running into lots of Shaman, don't play Freeze Mage. That would be my first tip. But if I honestly Zoo or like Tempo Warrior are like the problem with Shaman is that like nothing just beats it straight up, right? So but I think the strongest decks against it are probably Zoo and Tempo Warrior. Possibly Inzoth Pally because of all their board clear, but I haven't played enough of that matchup to know. So I don't know what have been you guys' experience, Fred?
Well, I've been playing
Would you echo
Shaman,
that?
and yeah, I play Zoo and I play Tempo Warrior, so
Yep.
I
It's
generally
basically
am able to handle them, and then
yeah
the Shaman's just a 50-50. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I have a Tempo Mage here that looks pretty fun because it has that faceless summoner. I think it's
Oh yeah, that's a good card.
yeah, maybe a little underrated, but
Yeah. I think the problem with Tempo Major now is like the rest of the shell is a little bit worse than what's out there, even though Faceless is like a great curve topper. For sure, like a great value curve topper.
yep.
But I think you're right. I think Tempo Mage could be one of the more underrated decks.
Well,
Not
thi-
many people are playing
the
it.
thing is, you don't do secrets anymore, obviously, because Mad
Right.
Scientist is gone. So you put that Cult Sorcerer in and hope to get the Arcane Blast to clear
Yeah.
anything. And
Yeah.
then you get into the Water Elemental and bigger stuff. But, I mean, sometimes you start with Mana Worm, coin Mana Worm into missiles, into you're dead
And
fairly soon.
yeah, you do lots of Tempo Mage things,
Yeah.
basically.
So, anyway, I've enjoyed it, but
And you got Ragnaros in there. I like that card a lot right now. Speaking of, that card's in a lot of decks, and that card, I hate that card playing as Freeze Mage.
oh yeah.
It's like the absolute bane of Freeze Mage.
And
Because
I happen to have this thing. Now that is swag. The golden rag.
Golden Rag is pretty
Whoa.
sexy. I'm not gonna lie. That card is really
I'm
nice.
glad I get to play it now again. It's like, all right, this goes in a few decks.
You didn't disenchant the regular one though.
Yeah, I need to do that. It's just
Get some
laziness.
dust. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is
See,
nice.
I have a golden Ysero. There's no deck she really goes in though.
Yeah, it's slow even in Control Warrior. I'm not saying something, so that's a tough one to fit in right now.
The stuff I got from the packs. I was thinking Deathwind Dragon Lord. Oh, I like Dragon Paladin, so I can do that, but then all the dragons have like a battle cry that you really want, so no. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's the
work.
problem, right? It's like none of them you just want to have go into play without there. Yeah, that card is it's
Yeah.
unplayable. It's sad, but it's unplayable.
More dragons required. Um,
Yep.
all right, Dan, question for you. What is
Oh.
your favorite and least favorite old god?
Oh,
So 4 choices.
favorite and least favorite of the old gods.
Let's run
Well,
through them real quick. We have N'Zoth, the Corruptor. That's the Death Rattle one. We got Cthulhu, which everybody got for free. That's the one you buff and does damage.
Yep.
We got Yisharaj, I don't even know how you say it. This is the 10-10 that pulls something out of your deck. And finally we have Yogg-Saron, the randomizer. Crazy thing.
Well, my favorite's Cthulhu because I've got the Cthulhu Druid put together, and there's been a couple of the combination with Bran Bronzebeard and Cthulhu,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's just too much fun. It's just wrong sometimes when you do like 40 something damage.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and what the one that brings back all the spells, the last one you named,
Yogg-Saron.
Yogg-Saron.
Yogg-Saron. I
That
don't
card was
have him,
played.
but it's been real aggravating to play against.
I don't have it. So
Oh, really? Yeah, you should craft him just for the lulz.
yeah, that's like
just to try it out.
it's the fun. Throw it out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been kind of 50-50 though. There's been some Yogs that have really just hosed me though.
Yeah, I'm hoarding like 15,000 dust. I'm not sure what for, but it's just me.
Yeah, I never understood your dust hoarding.
So I guess even though I wasn't asked, I'll answer. My least favorite is probably Josh or Hosh. I just don't know what. I've seen some druids throw it in there, but it's like a worse. Well, it could be worse. Varian. I wonder if it could fit there, but a 10 mana card. I'm sure there's some deck that could make it work, but I don't know. And
Yeah, I saw Dog was playing like a real heavy ramp druid with it, but I don't know. He always plays wacky stuff anyway. It seems so slow.
yeah, and let's see. That's probably the least. The most favorite it's probably Cthulhu. It's the one I played with the most. It seems like a fun. It's a pretty easy to understand. You build a deck around it. You're trying to buff him. You get him out there. It does something flashy. It's a big card. I kind of like that style.
It's a good and it's a good like deck to show like new players too. It's
Yeah.
like this is how you like play minions and trade, and then at the end you get this big reward, right? So
Yeah. And then they're asking about JASM's favorite and least favorite All God while we're at it.
I think they did a really good job with making like most of these playable. Like Inzoth, Yogg-Saron, and Cthulhu were all seen in high-level competitive decks, like at the preliminaries and at DreamHack and stuff like that. I guess the least favorite would be Yasharj, just because it hasn't really found a competitive place. Because I like things that are designed well to the point to where they're not broken, but they're competitively playable. But I guess my favorite is, probably Yogg-Saron, just because it tells the most stories, right? The craziest stories, and that's what makes it fun. So,
every time I see it, it's like, okay, there's no board left. You drew a bunch of cards. There's secrets up. You're like, what just happened?
yeah. And it's always the one you don't see coming. It's like they play a bunch of spells, and you're just trying to manage the board and stuff, and then they play it like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then crazy shit happens.
All right, Yellow Dart asking, has anybody tried Wild? Not me, that's for sure.
No, I keep contemplating going over there to try it out, but
I actually did play one game with an Inzoth Control Warrior. So, you slot in the Belchers, the Sylvanas, I think I put a Cairn, and just kind of have Inzoth as a finisher. That was pretty fun. One of my buddies was saying that he played against a few Inzoth secret paladins. I was like,
gosh.
oh no,
horrible.
I don't even want to think about that.
wow.
Oh, that would be rough.
Shredder, Belcher, Tyrion, Boombox.
I might have to go over there just to try that out.
Yeah, I know, right? It actually sounds like fun to play with, but not to play against. That's for sure.
I was contemplating it until I came across the face hunters started working for me. I was like, well, maybe I just need to go try Wild.
I haven't even tried it.
So hard.
What happens when you go there? You're like rank 25 or?
Yeah, so you just Yeah, I mean it's a separate ladder, right? So you just start at the bottom, I think. Is the way I haven't actually tried, but yeah, I think you start at the bottom.
Oh
So
yeah, there it is. 16. So whatever I was. So if I don't play wild at all, I'll go down to.
yeah,
Huh,
I think
okay.
like next season you'd be 25 or whatever.
Yep. Cool.
Interesting. I might have to try it out.
I mean, hard enough time getting to legend on
Yeah,
Well,
standard.
yeah,
it's
through
enough time
that.
as it
Through,
is, right?
That would be
So
another nightmare to try to do it over there, which you don't even know what you're gonna face. Yeah.
yeah,
well, I kind of need to put my theory to the test that the really more high quality players are all still doing standard, and that people that aren't that aren't worried about doing tournaments and playing super high level all the time might be over them, playing wild.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Then you
it's
get to
just a
play
theory.
against Shredder into Belcher into Mysterious Challenger, and it doesn't even matter their skill level.
Yeah.
Oh,
True.
this number is highlighted. I can play this card.
Oh, Belcher with Nassaw. What a nightmare. I don't wanna.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
that's
think about
that's
it.
pretty busted.
Ugh.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, that'd be like some just fun, crazy tournament thing, maybe for laughs.
I kind of do hope that they have a wild tournament at some point. That's somewhat high. That's somewhat like, high level. Just because seeing what a lot of these players could come up with, I don't know.
Oh,
There's
man.
crazy possibilities.
They're gonna have somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah,
It'll,
I think
it'll
so.
happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think that was all the questions from the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, that was
Um,
fun.
And just stay on the lookout for more live shows coming, because as you know, because of the Patreon, we'll do one a month, and then because of the reviews, we do some more. So,
Yeah, we need a couple more reviews, and we'll owe another one of those.
Yep.
So we get enough written reviews to put us over 100. I think we'll owe another video.
Yep, that's right around when it should happen. So, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.